All right, happy November, everybody. I honestly can't believe it's already November 3rd. I feel like this year has been flying by, but I wanted to do an October wrap up. I actually have not looked at what books I've read so far in October, so I'm gonna wrap this up with you live and we're gonna figure out what I've read. If I had to guess, I would say I had a pretty good month. I would say I probably read at least 8 books. There has to be at least 8. Also, October itself was a pretty good month. I got a lot of books and I was actually able to redo my library. I actually recorded me redoing my library, so I plan on editing that and putting that out later this week. So I'm excited for you guys to see that. Also released our merch this month. So we released these hoodies. We have one that says Good Girl, one that says After Dark, and one that says Head Off the Bed Club. If you know, you know. And then the back, here, I'll show you guys. Hopefully you guys can see that. But it says the After Dark Book Club. It says Keep It Spicy in the middle. This week we are actually going to release new merch. So we have a Christmas crew neck coming out, and then we're actually just releasing crew necks. We released the hoodies first, but we're also going to release black crew necks this week. And then more options. So I want to do one that says Brat. I want to do one that says Daddy. I want to do one that says Good Boy. And I think I have another one, but I'm not too sure. So have not already seen the merch, go check it out. The link should be in my bio. But it's the afterdarkthreadwear.com, I believe is the website that it's at. But yeah, we're making them totally in-house. We actually spent a good amount of time trying to find good blanks that were nice and comfy and were quality enough. And we tried to do it through like a third-party seller, I guess, and they look like trash. So we are actually currently making them in our garage by hand, each of them. Ryan is killing it. He made all the designs himself, and he's actually making the shirts himself. So very proud of him. So October's been pretty fun. We are going to bring back the podcast. I actually have been more free on my time, so we will bring the podcast back this week. We're going to bring back the long form videos. I'm going to try to post Monday and Friday for long form videos, and then Wednesday for the podcast. So November is looking good. October was a good month. November is looking even better. But let's go through what I read this month. And I'm excited to do this live because you guys can get my genuine reactions on each book I've read. So I have a Goodreads. I actually made my reading challenge this month. My goal for the year was 75 books. I'm currently at 78 books. I learned that Goodreads did not give me any kind of praise or congratulations. So me and Goodreads are currently beefing. I will be speaking out on that on my TikTok at some point, but I thought I would get something, like some kind of like confetti or something, and people said that theirs always gave them some kind of congratulations, and I have it screen recorded and Goodreads did nothing for me, so I am a little bit sad. So if you feel like giving me some praise, feel free to. Okay, let's re-go through what I've read in the month of October. So it looks like, okay, so Gothicana I read, but that was September 28th. So that was technically a September read. That book was pretty good. We read it for the book club. But I think I rated it 4 stars, and then I dropped it down to 3 once book club reminded me how many unanswered questions were in the book. So we decided that we should write Runex a letter because we need answers. There was like nothing answered in that book. But it was entertaining. It was a third-person read, so I typically do not read those. I know that I tried to read The Predator by Runex, and I did soft DNF it. Not that I planned on actually DNFing it. I did struggle with it. So maybe one day I'll go back to it. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but I prefer first person, but I guess sometimes I can't get what I want. What a weird thought. But it looks like my first actual October read was Scream for Us by Molly Doyle and Bloodshed, which was another book club read. I had previously read both these books last year. I rated them 5 stars last year. I think I rated them again 5 stars, but this time around I listened to them on audiobook. I love audiobooks when they're done right. I think I struggle when they're like hyper sexualized, and this book was definitely nothing but smut. So I shouldn't have listened to it as an audiobook. I think that took away from like I struggled with it. The narrators did a great job though. Like there's nothing to do with how the narrators narrated that book. That was just a personal preference. So if you're looking for like a good smutty audiobook, both of those were really good. Obviously it's not Halloween anymore, but still good. She did come out with Bloodbath, so it goes Scream for Us, Bloodshed, and then there's Melt for Us, which is a little Christmas novella, and then she just released Bloodbath, which is the next book, but I have not gotten to read that yet, so one day. Then I read Chase Out Forever by Kat Singleton. This one was good. I think I rated this one looks like I rated it 5 stars. This one was about a girl. She runs away from home. Like, not that she runs away. She's like 21 years old. Always grew up in a really bad home life with her dad. I think her mom like dipped out when she was much younger, and her dad was addicted to like alcohol or drugs. And so she finally just like saved up enough money to run away, and she ended up in this mountain. This is the Sutton Mountain series, so the town is Sutton. She was just stopping by a little town, and she had no plan on staying. This is book 3 in the series, and she runs into like this little coffee shop, and the coffee shop owner, which I think she has her own book just based off how much information we had about her in this book, kind of convinces her to stay. So she ends up becoming the nanny for this single dad whose wife died in a car accident right after the baby was born. It's been 3 years now. He walks into the coffee shop. The girl was sitting there, and they somehow the coffee shop owner convinces him to hire her as the nanny, as a live-in nanny. So they end up like, obviously the story's following both of them. That one was a really cute read. Then I read Home is Where the Bodies Are. I actually did buy the book because it is really cute. It's like a cassette player. The book is hardback. This was my first thriller that I've ever read. This was a book club read. I did not find it as thrilling as I was hoping it to be. And apparently like everyone in the book club said that that's not normally like Geneva Rose's books are typically a lot more like entertaining. So I rated that a 3-star. Not that I wouldn't give thrillers another chance, but I don't know, like that just wasn't it for me. Then I read It's Just Business by Lauren Landish. I rated this one a 4-star. This one's good. It's about this girl goes in for a job interview, and right as she goes in, her boyfriend walks into the restaurant where she's having the interview and just dumps her. And the boyfriend's like enemy is the one that was about to interview her, and he sees it happening and then sees that she still manages to kind of like hold her own. And she was with that guy for like 3 years. The guy was a total dick. I have never wanted to punch someone in the throat so bad than I did this guy, but whatever, it is what it is. So the guy, the main character guy now walks over. He says he can't hire her because like there's just too much like drama going on, but he wants to bring her to like this event that they have that weekend that is the ex-boyfriend's like parents throw this event. He's like, come with me, you can network, you can get a lot of people, like we'll give you their card, they'll hire you. So they go, and it's like 20, like I don't know, 15% into the book, they go to this event. Him and her end up hooking up in the building, and the ex-boyfriend's dad sees it. So then the rumor mill starts. So now everybody that like wanted to hire her starts like kind of dogging her and stuff like that. So there's a lot of drama that goes on with that. And then the main guy was like, okay, I can hire you, but it's just business. And obviously that's just not how it works. So if you're looking for a good like office romance, like very sexy, very spicy, that one's a good one. Then I read Carnival Monster as book club read by Selena Winters, and I ended up rating this one a 3-star. It was unhinged, just like straight unhinged. I think my only problem with it was the fact that he's like a serial unaliver but has no reason to. He just does it for fun. And I was like, I want my main characters to have a reason they unalive people. He just is crazy. He works for a carnival, and just like she goes to the carnival one night and he has a mask on, and he like pulls her to the side and they like lock eyes, and then all of a sudden they just start hooking up. He puts cameras in her apartment. It's kind kind of hot. Like, if you're looking for, like, good spice, I will be the first to admit these scenes were sexy as hell. But, as far as, like, plot and purpose, it lacked that for me. So I was like, okay, 3 star. Then I read Perfect Score by Kenna King. And here's where I start like my hockey romance for October. This one is only, I want to say it's like 200 something pages. 242 pages. I rated this 5 stars. It is so stinking cute. It's like second chance romance. This hockey player is getting on a plane. It's Christmas time. He's going to see his grandma. His grandma's freaking hilarious and was like, you're coming for my birthday, right? I'm going to hook you up with this girl. She's not very pretty, but you need to settle down. And he's like, my gosh, grandma, no. So as he's on the plane, he's like, I'm bringing my girlfriend. I just didn't tell you about her. And so the plane's actually waiting for one more passenger. And sure enough, the passenger that walks on is like the girl he was supposed to take to prom back in high school. And she now hates him because he never showed up. And there's like obviously a lot of history there. So he tried to get the flight attendant to be his pretend girlfriend. And the flight attendant's like, oh my gosh, I so would because you're a famous hockey player. But like, I'm not landing there. And so he had to ask this girl that hates him. And so she's flying to go to her sister's wedding where her ex-boyfriend is there that like now has a new fiance. So her sister was like, you should bring a fake date, try to make him jealous. So like the two of them are fake dating for each a reason, but like he's always been in love with her. So like I don't know, so cute. Then I read Unhinged, book club read by Vera Valentine. This is the one about the door where like the girl F's a door. 70 pages. This was Curiosity Killed the Cat. Book club wanted to do some kind of like weird book. So it was between that and the Kool-Aid Man. There's one where someone F's the Kool-Aid Man in a sauna, and the Unhinged one ended up winning. There was more plot. I rated this, actually I didn't rate it because you don't have to rate anything, but to me I rate based off category, and I've never read anything in this category, so that was 5 stars to me. It had more plot in it than I expected, and it wasn't as crazy as I thought it would be. You actually read from the point of view of the door, which was great. He was like protective, he loved her, there was a reason that she had to do it with the door. The only thing that was so weird in this book was he was born because his dad like had to have sex with a tree, and he just really found the tree attractive. I'm like, that's weird, buddy. So okay, and then I listened to Lights Out by Navessa Allen on audiobook. I've talked about this book like 8,000 times. Top tier. One of my favorite books this year. I think that my other one was Fabric of Our Souls, was my favorite book that I've read this year. I think this one has now like surpassed it, but Fabric of Our Souls is like emotional read, and this was funny dark romance, which I've never really like read. I guess Butcher and Blackbird was the closest thing that I've read to this, but Jacob Morgan does the audiobook. I would like, if I could recommend an audiobook that you just, even if you have to pay for it, like splurge on this audiobook. It is so freaking good. I'll never get over it. It's one that like people just automatically are like, I'll reread it because it's just that good. Obviously I rated that 5 stars. So then here's more hockey. I read the Romance Line by Lauren Blakely. I actually started this earlier in the month, but then got like busy. So not that I DNF'd it. I literally was like, oh my gosh, I have to keep up with my other reads. So finally finished that one, rated that one 5 stars. This one follows, I think she was the PR manager for the hockey team. He was the grumpy goalie, and that never wanted to do anything PR because he had a lot of issues with the press. He like dated a pop star, and then they had a falling out, and so then he had some issues. So he was like out of the limelight for over a year, and he was threatened to like lose a lot of his like contracts, like a lot of his promotional deals that he had going on outside of playing hockey. And so she was hired to kind of like revamp his image. And so you've got the grumpy with the sunshine, and she has a lot of stuff she's trying to work over about like security and stuff like that, like in herself. So that was a great read. I rated that one 5 stars. I love Lauren Blakely. And then another one, Kenna King again. I love both Lauren Blakely and Kenna King. Like, they're my go-to hockey romances. I think I'm going to read Lauren Blakely comes out with another one in 2 weeks called The Holiday, and I'm going to read that one. Kenna King actually has 9 books in these series. I've read 3 so far, and I'm going to read the rest. But the next one I read was Dirty Score, and I love this even more than Perfect Score. I rated this one 5 stars. This one follows a figure skater that works for the hockey team. Like, her dad is the GM. She works under him, and she finds out that, like, one of their key hockey players got, I think he was on a visa, so he went back home. They needed a new hockey player, so they were pulling, like, a really great player from their farm team, and she knew that the only great player on their farm team was, like, her arch nemesis from college, and that used to play under her dad, and he kicked him to the farm team because he kind of did this girl dirty. And this is a second chance romance too. He's always loved her, and she hates him. So he comes back, and it's so cute. She's a figure skater. He's a hockey player. I think that dynamic is always such a good one. And then the last one I finished for October was Little Stranger by Lee Rivers. So I love Lee Rivers. I have read the Edge of Darkness trilogy. I read that one back in March. I rave about her writing. So this trilogy, Insatiable, Voracious, and Restitution, I recommend to anyone that ever, like, if you DM me privately and you're like, I need a rec, that's where I'm going automatically. So I was excited to read more from Lee Rivers. I heard the audiobook was fantastic, but again, as I said earlier, if the audiobook is, like, over sexualized, I struggle with that. And I know this one's, like, very taboo. It's foster siblings. It's very dark. Like, spiders are involved and screwdrivers involved. Like, I already kind of knew that from book talk, so I was a little bit nervous to try the audiobook, but everyone was like, it's such an experience. Joe Arden does such a beautiful job bringing in Malachi's emotions, so I decided this was my first time I did immersive reading, where I listened to the audiobook while reading the book, and highly, highly recommend it. Actually, rather than me listening to something that's just overly done while I'm walking down the street or doing laundry or, I don't know, like at the gym, reading it allows me to hone in, so I am in that dark romance state of mind, and I can listen to it, and it wasn't bad. I feel like had I tried to do it while I do normal mundane activities, I would have been like, this is cringy, this is too much. So I've learned that if you typically find that, like, hard to deal with, like me, try reading the book at the same time, and it actually, like, really brought everything to life. I finished that, I think, in 24 hours. That was so good. I rated that 5 stars. That book, it's only 207 pages, but then Little Liar is next, and it follows that couple. It ended as a happily ever after, but the last sentence was, like, basically like, happily ever after, or is it? And so I don't really know where Little Liar is going to go, but I've heard it's very emotional. That book is apparently like 400 and something pages, so I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to take that on, because I actually just started Madness, which is Chantal Tessier. I've been putting that off because that book's 800 pages, so I'm like, I need to read, like, an 800-page book while reading, like, other 300-page books at the same time, as to break that up. So, yeah, long story short, how many books was that? 12 books. So I know I talked about 13 because I brought up Gothicana, but overall, a very good month. I feel like I gave all these books pretty good ratings. I was very entertained for the month. I did a few audiobooks. Now I want to do Leather and Lark as my next audiobook. I'm currently reading a book called The Risk of Falling, which is actually really good. I'm going to make a video about it this week. I'm reading Madness. I'm going to read more Kenna King. I'm going to try to get through every single one of her books before the end of the year. More Lauren Blakely coming down the road. Got a few Christmas ones, or like holiday ones, that I want to get done for the month of November. Obviously, that's the time to start bringing in the holiday ones. Book club is currently in instead of No Nut November, we're doing Numerous Nut November, and we're doing Why Choose November. So this week was Perfect Fit by Sadie Kincaid, but I didn't read that because I read that back in August, so we're going to talk about that one Sundays when we talk about this. I'll probably won't release this till Monday, but we're going to do that one. And then for the poll for this week, Puck Yes by Lauren Blakely is winning. So I might be reading more Lauren Blakely than I originally thought. So I'm excited for that. We will see how November goes. But once that's done, I will definitely do a wrap up. Like I said, I'm coming back with more long form content. So I'm just glad to be back. Thank you guys for sitting through my video. If you have any questions on the books I've read, or if you have any like recommendations for me, be sure to comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel so that way you don't miss any future updates. Bye!